Welcome to another edition of Streamlined by 42 Agency. We're glad you're here today with us. Today we'll be talking about Google Analytics, which has been a staple of marketing teams and especially B2B marketing teams for the past decade or so. Now, if you've been following the news recently, Google Analytics actually released a new version of Google Analytics called GA4, and there's been a lot of noise and complaints about it. And today we're hoping to give you a brief overview on what's different between GA Universal, which was the previous version, and Google Analytics 4, which is the new version that Google just rolled out. Now, Google Analytics Universal, which was the previous version of Google Analytics, was actually a different tool than what GA4 is. At its core, Google Analytics Universal, that we'll call UA from now on, because I don't want to keep saying Google Analytics, my tongue gets tripped up. UA was actually a tool to measure sessions and page views on a website and tell you where people came from. So sessions and page views are when you land on a website and the page loads, that counts as a unique session. Now, one user might have more than one session if they're going to multiple pages or their session times out. Now, normally what happens in Universal Analytics is that a session times out after 30 or so minutes. So imagine you're on a website, you step away to eat lunch, you come back, you refresh the website, it counts as another unique session. But for UA, you're still one unique visitor. So that's, I think, an important distinction that a lot of marketers need to understand is the difference between a session and a visitor. A Universal Analytics actually data model, which is the underlying data infrastructure it uses and how it reports on things and how it slices and dices the data, was all based on sessions. So it was very much website driven. Imagine static websites like a WordPress site where there's not a lot of interactive elements. You're reading content on a page. UA was fantastic to measure how many visitors you got, how many sessions you got, how people behave on the website, where they enter from, where they exit from. Entrance page, meaning they Googled you and instead of landing through the home page, they might have come through the blog. So that's your entrance page. And exit is they might leave the website through a certain page. It might be the same page they landed on, or it might be another page that they decided to exit from. And what is different about GA4 is the core data model has changed from sessions and website visitors to events. Now, what's different about events? Imagine you're on a website. A page view is now an event and not a session. The advantage of this kind of data model is that it can unify your web app, mobile app, and website into one unified data model. Before, with GA Universal, you could not measure web app usage or events because that was not built into the data model. But now with GA4, the data model is unified, so you can measure website visitors, web app actions, and mobile potentially, and you can unify them into one single dashboard. So you have the continuity of view of people came to my website from here, where a page view is actually an event that fires in GA4, and then they might sign up, they might go into a web app, which is part of the product, but it's still in the browser, which is why it's called a web app. And these events that happen within the product can also be then fired into GA4. With Universal Analytics, you had to wrangle the data models a little bit. You had to create custom events and you had to do all these weird things to make it work in that scenario. But with GA4, it's all a unified view. Now, this gives us the advantage as marketing people that we can go deeper into product analytics. With GA4, you get a very basic free tool out of the box that can give you product analytics, cohort analysis, drop-offs, funnel charts in terms of what events and what leads them to drop off. The other advantage of GA4 is that it has a very robust integration with Google Tag Manager. So with Google Tag Manager, you can create your own custom events, push them to GA4, and they show up in GA4. Now, some events are already by default existing in GA4, such as page view, form fill, scroll. So you can measure those events out of the box. But if you are connecting it to your product side, or you have more events like how many people clicked on a certain button, you have to code those in through Tag Manager. The other interesting thing about Google Analytics is that its focus on the events means that there's a lot of out-of-box reports that you would normally get in a tool like Mixpanel, which is more geared towards product analytics. But with GA4, you can get cohort analysis. Cohort analysis means that somebody signed up today, and how many of those people actually return to the product or the website 7 days from now, 30 days from now, 90 days from now. Now, if you have any questions about GA4, we do have a longer form video which I did with Emily Kramer from NKT1. Dive deep into GA4 and all it can do. It's about an hour long, so if you have the patience for that, I would recommend watching that. But this was just a very quick overview of the difference between Universal Analytics and Google Analytics 4. With that, thank you for watching Streamlined by 42 Agency. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we'll be updating the YouTube with new videos in the coming weeks, and we have a library of videos that can be watched anytime you want.